You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Well, guys, we're going to be talking about ESPN's Stephen A. Smith here in this video. Now, when it comes to wokeness, ESPN is the worldwide leader. There is no doubt about it. During Women's History Month last month, they actually honored Leah Thomas for women's sports, who is a biological male. When Riley Gaines was actually attacked by a transgender activist over there at San Francisco State University, they said nothing. They said nothing. ESPN is a far left woke network. They just are. They used to be really, really great at sports, but now they're into left-wing political propaganda, nothing more. Now, when it comes to Stephen A. Smith, I don't believe that Stephen A. is a leftist. I don't. He's probably more of a slightly moderate, slightly to the left. He has actually said some things, in the past and in the present that I believe that the wokes at ESPN won't like. However, when he's on First Take, he'll actually come out there and he'll say some woke stuff because that is his audience right there. But when he goes on to other outlets, he makes a lot of common sense. I mean, just last week, he actually said that he didn't believe that Donald Trump was racist. He said he never believed that. He actually liked Donald Trump. He would never say that on ESPN. But when he's off of ESPN, he'll say something else. Well, guys, since he actually had Clay Travis, the Outkick founder, on his podcast, the wokes over there at ESPN are pretty furious. They're pretty furious that Stephen A. Smith had Clay Travis on there. Now, Outkick is a lot like us. They call out the wokeness in sports. And Clay Travis, he comes hard at ESPN and all the wokeness because that's what ESPN does. This is what they do. Now, Stephen A. Smith, being as powerful as he is over there at ESPN, I believe he's actually able to get away with saying some things that other people over there at ESPN wouldn't be able to say. Now, we do know that Sage Steele, she came out publicly and supported Riley Gaines. She has. She was one of the few. She actually still works at ESPN, and she came out and slammed ESPN because they were forcing a jab on her when she didn't want to get it. She got it because she wanted to keep her job. She is one of the most vocal people over there at ESPN. Now, I do believe that other people over there do exist, but I do believe that they are too afraid to come out and say something against the company and all the wokeness. But look here. On the Spun, and also Outkick has the same article here as well, guys. ESPN employees reportedly not happy with Stephen A. Smith because he actually had Clay Travis on. Let's read some of this, guys. Stephen A. Smith raised some eyebrows by welcoming Outkick founder Clay Travis on his No Mercy podcast. Travis, whose author page brags about being banned from ESPN, I didn't know he was actually banned. I know he was banned from CNN, is a vocal critic of the network. The conservative pundit often uses ESPN in his attempt to manufacture culture wars against what he perceives as woke ideologies. Well, it is. I mean, ESPN, live on the air at sporting events, went out there, got engaged in politics, slamming Florida and Ron DeSantis for this whole transgender ideology. And also the parental rights and education bill where you can't sexualize children in grades K through 3. And I believe he's actually tried to expand that, throughout all of high school as well. You shouldn't be doing that. But ESPN on the air personalities actually came out and slammed that bill, which is now law in Florida. They did that. Unsurprisingly, Smith's colleagues aren't all pleased with him. According to the big league's Kyle Koster, Smith interviewing Travis has, quote, not been a huge hit internally. Awful announcings on Ken Cole expanded on frustrations of Smith following his own set of guidelines. Quote, Stephen A. has largely been paid and been playing by his own rules. ESPN folks have long understood and accepted this, Koo said. His interview yesterday with ESPN's biggest antagonist has had a major impact on how he's seen internally. Bad teammate is the kindest of what I've heard. Yeah. And I don't know if Stephen A. Smith's podcast is necessarily associated with ESPN. I don't think it is. Now, Skip Bayless, who actually works for Fox, he has his own podcast, and I believe that's actually part of his job with Fox, because I remember I actually I did a reaction to something on Skip Bayless's podcast, and Fox actually copyrighted it. So I believe that is definitely a part of Fox. But however, when we do reactions to ESPN clips, it never gets copyrighted. So I really don't know. I don't know whatsoever. The First Take host explained his decision to speak to Travis when promoting the podcast episode Tuesday morning. Quote, many people lack a willingness to sit down and talk to someone they know they may disagree with on many fronts, Smith wrote on Twitter. I'm glad I took the time to sit down with Clay Travis and talk about that, among much else. And he's right about this part right here. A lot of people, they don't want to hear opposing viewpoints. For example, Libs of TikTok actually confronted AOC. AOC did not know who the person behind Libs of TikTok was in person. And they took a photo, and then she revealed herself, and what happened? AOC ran away. She did not want to have a conversation. That is what leftists do. And that's not what Stephen A. Smith is doing right here. It goes on here. It says, another way some could interpret his guest choice, Smith gave his platform to a far-right outrage expert who once said during a CNN interview that he only believes in the First Amendment and boobs while criticizing ESPN. Now, Clay Travis is clearly not a far-right guy. He's not. Of course, the people at ESPN may believe that, but anybody that actually listens to Clay Travis knows that's not the case. Did he vote for Trump? Yeah, he voted for Trump. But believe it or not, that was the first time he ever voted for a Republican in his life. He voted for Barack Obama not once, but 2 times. He said that. But I believe what happened is the left, they completely lost their minds. Democrats completely lost their minds. And they started going down this woke route of gender ideology, pushing men into sports. And to common sense thinking people, they're like, wait a minute, that is crazy. That is insane right there. Now, I really would like to know what Stephen A. Smith truly feels about the whole men playing in women's sports. I don't believe he's actually addressed that and talked about it, but I definitely would like Stephen A. Smith to actually talk about that on his podcast. But I'm pretty sure if he says what I believe he actually will say, I believe that the votes at ESPN will be even more furious. I don't believe that Stephen A. Smith for 1 second is actually down with men playing in women's sports. I don't believe that whatsoever. Now, could he actually come out and say, hey, I do believe that they should? I guess he could, but I highly doubt it. I really, really doubt that. I don't believe that Stephen A. Smith believes that for 1 second. That's just my thoughts on this. What do you guys think of this? Black and white sports fans, let us know what you think about all this in the comments. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.